Hello everybody and welcome back to a new video. Today I want to share a flip through of my journal, the one I filled during mid-May. So if you're watching this right when I upload the video, all of this actually happened just about a week ago. Yeah, and I created the journal during the Artjournal festival. And this was actually my very first time attending the Artjournal festival. It was the 5th edition overall, and yeah, honestly, I'd been thinking about joining for years, but at the same time, I always worried that maybe I'm not really the kind of person who feels creatively comfortable in a group setting, you know. I genuinely wasn't sure if it would be for me in the end. But this year, I finally decided to just go for it. And wow, I'm so glad I did. It was such an amazing experience. The location was beautiful and the group was absolutely wonderful. There were 30 women there, all completely passionate about paper journals and art journaling, and everyone brought their own unique style and creativity to share. I just loved it. We had inspiring prompts, little workshops and demos every single day, and the atmosphere was just incredibly warm, supportive and appreciative. It really was such a special experience. I have no words. My heart is still full, you know. So I'll include a link to the Artjournal Festival's Instagram channel down below in the description box, so you can check this out if you want to. So today I want to share with you everything I created during those 4 days. Maybe let's start with the tag that I made. We had a workshop with Mona from Mona Schreibt. I will link her Instagram channel down below in the description box as well. And yeah, she inspired us with her tag that she showed us. And it was about creating or finding our inner muse. So the topic for the Artjournal Festival was Musenzeit. This is a word, you know, it's best translated with time of the muse or time for your muse, if that makes sense. So it was all about our inner muse and the creativity that comes with a muse, the muse that lies within us. And yeah, we created this multi-layered tag. I did this little collage. This is a page from a magazine. I collaged this flower on top, sewed around it, added this ribbon. I dyed this ribbon with pink acrylic paint. And then we made these windows here. So it says here, we celebrate, wir feiern. And then you can just open the window. And here it says viel, much, Genuss, pleasure. And here is the second window, deep dive, and Zeit, time, and finally us. So here is a paper that is supposed to be a mirror, and I added a laminated sheet with these heart confetti, glitter confetti inside, and added the word us. If you know me, you know that I love tags. So I have to find a place in my studio because I just love this so much. So thank you, Mona, again for this inspiration. So the other piece of art that is not within a journal is this inner heroine. This is again a cutout from a magazine. Then I found this gorgeous sunflower here, also in a magazine. I cut it out, trimmed the edges a little bit, sewed around, and I made a skirt with these ribbons. The legs were actually from another woman from another magazine. Added this doily and some thread for the texture, of course. Oh, and I dyed this doily with acrylic ink again and added the word doch. This means yet. And that word spoke to me. Oh, and of course I added this beautiful glitter. What is this? Gemstone? I don't know. Did a little hand stitching with a pink thread, and this can hang here. And here's the journal that I made during, or that I filled during the Art Journal Festival. I bound it at home before the festival began, and it's a super simple journal featuring just one single signature and a 3-hole pamphlet stitch binding and just a plain cover. I cut the cover out of a large piece of masterboard that I had previously created myself using acrylic paints. I actually have a video tutorial for that process. I'll link it for you up there in the top right corner, and as well, of course, as down below in the description box. And the fact that I still had a large piece of that masterboard here left over. Wait, let me show you what I still have left. So this is still a large piece of this acrylic masterboard that I actually used for the cover. Now this is the same design here. Yes, having that leftover piece on hand was truly life-saving, I would say, because I had absolutely zero time beforehand to do any major preparations for the festival. So I simply cut out a piece and randomly bound in a few papers from my stash. Then I sewed, well, let me at first show you the cover. So, no, let's go to the closure here. The closure is, this is the piece of ribbon, or this is just a fabric scrap. And it, when it was not filled yet, it went around twice. So when I started filling the journal, I realized I had to make it longer twice during the whole festival. So this is the cover. So when I prepared it at home, I just sewed in these 2 pockets on the front and on the back of the cover, and my journal was complete. And you know, as for these pockets, specifically how I made them, since they are actually collage strips, I've also made a video about that, which I will of course link for you as well. So on the cover, I added this tag that I made during the festival. So everything that I show you now is made during the festival, except the cover and the pages that I already bound in. So this is texture paste on this shiny cardstock. So we were gifted this cardstock and during the festival and could use it. I must admit, I really fell in love with this cardstock. So I just sewed together a piece of a doily, fabric, added an eyelet here. And this is actually texture paste and it says muse inside. So time for your muse. This is one of the beautiful gifts that we made each other. So this was a prompt. We were inspired to add a little sentiment on a tiny piece of art and give it to another participant of the Art Journal Festival. And this says, "You are an inspiration." And I thought this has to go on the cover. And in those two pockets, I added all the other gifts that I received from other participants. I'm really a lucky girl, you know. I have all those tiny, beautiful pieces of art. Look at that. And I can forever go through them. You know, my heart is filled when I go through them. So for the first page, I just glued down a piece of a magazine here, added the logo from the Art Journal Festival, added some glitter, made this dangling piece here. I just love it. This is so playful. Here I again used the confetti and glued it down with some translucent packaging tape. Cut out this bird from a magazine, added the circle that I punched out. Again, some little threads here. Take risks. This piece of art I was also gifted by Michelle from Raspberry Blue Sky. Here again, texture paste with muse inside. Added this laminated sheet of confetti. This I actually brought from home to the Art Journal Festival. I wanted to use it as an extra page, as a tip-in. I cut out this woman from a magazine, and here is a piece of a cardboard. I sewed around the woman and then glued this part onto the page and glued this part with a laminated page into the journal with a piece of tape. I hope that makes sense. Oh, this is one of my favorite projects from the whole festival. We had a workshop with Gabrielle, and she made a pop-up thingy. She made a flower garden that you can pop out. She actually glued it into her journal. It lays flat when the journal is closed, but you can do this. And then you have a three-dimensional thing. And I actually took the idea and combined it with my own style. It says, "The simple things are the greatest." I didn't want to glue that down because, you know, I wanted to have it removable. And here again is this shiny cardstock. I'm so in love with it. So here a quite minimalistic collage. Just cut out the woman, added this star sticker. I mean, this page is so simple and clean. I love it. Here just a random scrap of paper. You know, I exactly know who made this paper. This is a paper by Tamara at Mara Kreativstudio. And I just glued it down and I thought, that's beautiful. I punched a hole, added an eyelet, and then added this brad here. And this, you know, this ring here, this screams, add something on me. So I will probably add here some dangling pieces later on. Did this little collage here, the piece of a doily, some thread, tape. Here's some stenciling with acrylic paint. Another quite minimalistic collage, just cut out the woman and added the star sticker. And then I thought I want to add this translucent paper on top, where I just added some pink acrylic paint. Here a quote and a tape. Ich mache es auf meine Art means I do it my way. This is just some paper that I had in my stash with a jelly print. Did some stitching here on vintage book pages. I added this envelope that I was gifted. Did a collage here again, this is not a collage, this is a cluster. I love the threads. So we even had 2 sewing machines at the festival. That was gorgeous because I love adding stitching onto my pages. So I opened the envelope and just added this page here that I made. So again, just a cutout, added a beautiful flower from the Queen of the Flowers, Gabrielle, and she made this beautiful flower. I'm so inspired by her flowers. Added this piece of a doily again on the back side, and I had to add more confetti in this plastic bag that I sewed around, and made this cluster here with the sewing thread again, and you can just tuck it in here. Oh, and this is another favorite piece that I made. This is again made from a plastic bag. I cut out an original photo, glued it on top of a shiny cardstock, added some glitter. Here I stamped the word muse. This is 100% me. The combination of the vintage vibe and the modern vibe, that's perfect. I added this piece of paper here, sewed around it. This is an envelope. Did some collaging here on top again. And inside there is a tag. We were gifted these stones by Mona. Love it so much. I glued it down on here. We are here in the middle of our signature. And this is just a piece of this acrylic masterboard. I sewed it in. Again, this shiny cardboard, made some kind of a tag here. It says your style is unique. So this is not a gift. I made this for myself, and I wanted to incorporate this quote because it reminds me of all the different styles that I saw during the Artjournal festival. I felt inspired by each and every style. It was just amazing. To see all the different aspects and little details that each and every one of us used in another way in their journals or in their way of creating. This was just amazing, and I wanted to remind me of this aspect, so I added your style is unique. Here again a piece of this collage strip that I also used on the inside of the cover here for the pocket. Again, just some sewing on the page. This is the other half of the envelope. Of course, I had to add another tag. Made this with a Paperdoll and these neon star stickers. And made this window here. I cut out a piece of this envelope. I added on the inside this neon yellow tape. Again, some confetti. Did some stitching here. This is just a piece of paper that I decorated with one layer of white gesso and then just some watercolors on top. Ooh, and this one I love so much. This was inspired by a prompt on the last day of the Art Journal Festival. The prompt said, take your time and think about what you experienced during the 4 days and what you take home from the 4 days at the Art Journal Festival. I had to use an illustration of a sewing machine, of course, because I spent a lot of time at the sewing machine. Then I had to add some watercolor flowers that I made, inspired by Gabrielle's flowers. So this was so much fun making these flowers and cutting them out. Of course, I had to incorporate this shiny paper or cardstock because I have to buy it. I love it so much. Here it says, find inspiration. Saying hello to someone you don't know yet. Try something new. And watching or observing something cute. And this is exactly what I have in mind when I think of these 4 days. Another paper doll somehow. Added an eyelet here, some fabric scraps, thread, and she has either a hat or a flower in her hair. You know, the muses are obviously everywhere in my journal. Here again, another muse. Again, a cutout from a magazine and a simple collage. Here I stitched on vellum paper that I jelly printed. Did some hand stitching and some machine stitching. Piece from a magazine. Again, the texture paste with mousse inside, some fun dots here, a pocket with a cluster again. I just love making these ones. These are so much fun. I added my card here. And this is actually the piece that I made for all the other participants. For everyone I made one of these pockets here with the tab here or the fabric scrap on top. I added some paper scraps and goodies on the inside here into the pocket, and I gave one of those to each participant at the festival. So I had to include, of course, one also in my personal journal. I added a tag in here again. It says hooray. Love her face. This lives in here. Again, some stitching. And this is quite a minimalistic piece, just a vellum. Then here a quote. The quote, of course, has to be on the cardstock again. This is another favorite piece, a tag. Here it says begin. And we had a lot of hole punchers that we could borrow and use them. Added eyelets here on the 2 pieces and tied them together. Trust your life, or trusting life. A pocket. Another piece of paper here. Added a piece of vellum. We had a workshop where we learned how to draw portraits, and this was the first piece here. This was a 1-line portrait, and I love the sound. And of course I had to keep this, so this lives here in the envelope. An image from a magazine, again the fun star stickers here. Love those girls here and the kitten. Oh, adorable. Another collage, or collage cluster. The threads are everywhere, as well as the shiny cardstock. Here I made a pocket with the laminated sheet that I brought from home. And I made this tag again. This is self-adhesive foil, plastic paper. And I made this collage in between and then glued the 2 pieces of this thing together. You know what I mean. I can't find the right words now. So much fun. I love incorporating plasticky things, bits and pieces in my journals. And I think that is a fun way to recycle packaging and all the things. I don't buy these plastic things. I just recycle the things that I already have. This is obviously empty, but I like it. I think I will leave it as it is. Again, some plastic thing in combination with the glitter paper. Added these confetti in between, or these other circles from the hole puncher. This says basically aesthetic nourishment. Here again, some beautiful gifts that I received. And the pocket on the back of the journal. So many adorable gifts here. Oh. And of course, I love all the pieces peeking out. That's just the best thing. Oh. So much to explore. Such a chunky beauty. I hope you found a little bit of inspiration from the pages that I just showed you. Leave me a comment which page or which project or which tag is your favorite. I would really love to know. And I hope you have a lovely day. Stay creative, and I'm looking forward to seeing you soon in my next video. Bye!